we all know the New Year's, Chinese New Year's has just finished. It's like is it still maybe going on for another day or so? Because it's a 10-day affair.
Yeah, it goes on forever.
Yeah. So
basically,
anyway.
the way I see Chinese New Year is it lasts half the year. People are always like the way you greet people when it's like around New Year season. It continues. It just keeps going and going, doesn't it?
Yeah. We thought we'd show you the aftermath of a Chinese New Year celebration, so you can see what to expect if you go to your average town just outside the outskirts of a big major city.
In the outskirts.
In the outskirts of a major city. And that's a lot of stuff to clean up, I'll tell you that much. Yeah. What do you reckon?
Well, there's a lot of people and a lot of festivities, but that is mountains and mountains of garbage and pollution.
This is something that most people don't realize, is that littering is not frowned upon in China.
Yeah.
Not like anywhere else. You know, when you litter, if you were to go into the public now, if we went outside and walked around and we threw some trash out in public, there's a good chance that somebody's going to call us out.
Absolutely.
Say, like, don't be a litter bug.
Yeah. Stop throwing garbage on the ground,
And
pick it up.
Yeah, exactly. There'll be somebody who'll, give you some trouble for that. But not in China. If you throw trash on the ground, no one's going to stop you. No one's even going to say anything.
I'll do you one better. If you went to Taiwan, which is very similar to China in many aspects, you hear Chinese everywhere. You see some Chinese temples and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
If you throw garbage on the ground, people will throw it right back in your car.
Yeah, they do.
People will get furious at that.
Yeah.
Totally different.
It is very different. But you know what? I always wondered about this because, as soon as you cross the border from mainland China into Hong Kong, for instance, suddenly the streets are clean, okay?
Yeah.
And you see signs up everywhere that say you're going to get like a
$1 zillion
yeah, whatever, how much, 5,000 Hong Kong dollar fine for littering and stuff.
Yeah.
But I always wondered, how did they manage to combat this? Because, for all intents and purposes, Hong Kong just used to be Guangdong, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same culture, the same people, the same everything. And I found out that during the 70s, they had a massive push where they actually had this mascot called the litter bug who would walk around like in a costume and shame people publicly whenever they did. And they'd like have film crews following it in Hong Kong.
In Hong Kong, yeah.
So that's how they got rid of the whole littering issue in Hong Kong, is they made it like a public shame thing where they'd have an actual litter bug going around and point fingers and ha-ha, and people would like shout at them being a litter bug.
You know what also works?
What?
Enforcing the law.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm just saying, like, there was a littering problem in Hong Kong.
Of course.
But then it got cleaned up by the litter bug.
The litter bug did it. There's a report that, this is really important, but I think you guys can just open the link and read through it.
You've got a link?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, but give us a gist.
Yeah, so the gist is basically the Meta and Microsoft and all these other companies have found a sheer disturbing amount of Chinese propaganda accounts, right? And they're not just propaganda accounts that are saying China good, we are great, look at Chinese culture. We're talking about accounts that are doing very specific influence campaigns to destroy the USA.
Well, yeah, to divide the public.
And not even to insert China into the dialogue sometimes.
Yeah, just to cause chaos.
Yes.
So that China
they'll endorse certain politicians, right? Yeah. Just like Russia. Russia and China do this thing where they somehow, people in America start to think, oh, maybe they're on our side because they're aligning with my political viewpoint. But what you don't understand is they do both sides, right?
Yeah.
They do whatever is sowing division to cause chaos. And they're doing targeted campaigns to do this. And it's super, super unnerving. It almost seems insurmountable. But the takeaway from this, and by the way, there's a lot of good information coming out of this, but Meta was doing a good job. Microsoft's been doing a good job. X, Twitter, after, used to be collaborating with these companies to interface with the government, interface with the other social media companies and say, hey, we found this big threat.
Yeah.
After Elon Musk took over, they've pretty much stopped doing this.
Yeah.
That's not conjecture. That's just true. In fact, they found these huge swaths of them. They would look at these accounts that have influence campaigns that were removed on these other platforms like Meta or Google or whatever. Mm-hmm. And they found that those influence campaigns and those accounts proliferated and stayed and flourished with hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of followers on Twitter.
Yeah.
And this is a new change. This is happening now. Twitter has become a hotbed. X has become a complete hotbed where propagandists and fake accounts run by adversarial countries are flourishing. Yeah. It's bad. It's truly bad.
I mean, it's just an unfortunate thing. I know a lot of people had a lot of hopes for Twitter when Elon Musk took over because, they thought that would go a certain way and that there wouldn't be as much political bias from the left, that type of thing. But the unfortunate thing that nobody really seemed to realize is that Elon Musk is beholden to China. He has so much of his entire fortune and companies and stuff tied up in China. Of course, he's not going to be combative towards China on Twitter. In fact, he's going to allow them to walk all over him and the rest of the world on Twitter because of his dealings with China.
In fact, we've seen just
so politics aside,
the careers of these propagandists in these fake accounts running anti-America influence campaigns to make people hate each other that are being promoted on the front page. That are being thrust in front of your face. It's information warfare. And it's gotten to a point now where I just can't, in my right mind, recommend anyone to go and participate in that or support this company. It's a hive of absolute nonsense, disinfo, propaganda.
Here's the thing: a lot of people's daily life is tied into Twitter. Whether specifically people that do any kind of journalism, they're always on Twitter.
Play some of the other slides.
And so if you do have to use Twitter, and you just have to realize that what you're seeing on there, if you see things that are like really trying to sow division, being very pro China, you know what they are. You have to see it for what it is. It's kind of like you can go into a restaurant and say half the dishes are poison, right? If you know which dishes are poison, you can order the good stuff and just avoid the poisonous dishes. Right? And that's what you got to deal with Twitter. You just got to look and see what's poison. Right? And avoid it.
So I actually highly recommend everyone read that article. It's on Washington Post. It was really good. And you know what's great about that article is everything's clickable in there. So all the evidence for everything was in there, and it was really shocking.
It's in the description, like everything else.
Shame on Twitter.
Yeah, for sure. Stop being such a CCP shill. Platform.
Anyway, Russia, China, Russia, and Cambodia on the top list of regimes. We talk about transnational repression. It's when a foreign government harasses people in different countries across borders because they're dissidents against the government, right? It's when they're harassing those people.
That's what transnational means. It doesn't mean something else.
No. China and Russia and Cambodia are on the top list of those regimes that do that. They go after people that they don't like. They go after people that are saying things that they don't want. That's why they had 50-plus Chinese police stations operating abroad to go and harass Chinese anti-CCP dissidents, right? Russia does the same. Cambodia does the same. Just to put this in perspective, I want people to know there's other countries that do that too. We got Myanmar and Turkmenistan as well. It's not just China that does this. This is kind of a ragtag group of these countries that are banding together to be like, how can we be more oppressive abroad?
How can we silence people? Oh, somebody said something I didn't like, so I want to silence them.
In a foreign country.
The thing is, if it's in their own country, they can just literally take them, disappear them, kill them, poison them, do whatever they do. But when they're abroad, they can't silence them, and they get mad. So they're like, how the hell do we silence that person? So they figure out all these dastardly ways.
And there's a big uptick in this. So just bringing that to everyone's attention.
This is hilarious.
Give that interior a little spray.
Give it a power wash.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And he taught his son to do the same.
Yeah, like father, like son, Man, this audio's deep fried.
So deep fried. I love it.
This guy can herd goats, though, man.
He's doing everything within his ability.
This is the most fabulous goose ever. What's going on?
This is how you attract a crowd in rural China.
This is rural ingenuity.
Pretty epic.
Yeah.
When I take a breath, you fill up my lungs.